Good morning, everyone. I hope you're all well and I hope you had a good weekend. I am a little later posting this today. I know I normally post it at midnight, but I posted the short, so I thought I would hang fire and wait until this morning to post this, and I have been awake since. I'm filming this at 8 o'clock UK time. I think I've been awake since 4 o'clock. Yeah, been awake since 4 o'clock. I am, and I'm promising, and I really am meaning it today, that I am going to keep this very, very short today. Very, very short. I am, and I mean it this time. So, the poem that I'm going to read today is called Letter to My Inner Child, and I have wrote on occasion more than one letter to my inner child. Your inner child, everybody has the inner child, and the inner child is basically, well, it's self-explanatory, but the inner child can become very damaged and when we're young, and it carries all the way through, and then as you get into adulthood, I suppose your inner child still shouts and screams and wants to know why this happened, why that happened, because as children we're supposed to, our parents are supposed to love us and give us everything that we need, and sometimes that is not the case. Our inner child is we're supposed to protect our children, and even though we're grown adults, the inner child within us, if we allow anybody to mistreat us, the inner child wants to know why. Why will that happen? And that's where the inner child comes in. I can't say my childhood was traumatic in any way, although I did not have a good relationship with my mother, because my mother was schizophrenic, and I didn't realise this until obviously going into adulthood. I could not actually, because I've never had that mothering instinct in me. Therefore, I chose not to have children. I was a nanny in my younger years for a couple of babies when I was only 18, but I never had that, and as it goes, I had to have my womb removed when I was 40, so, and I don't think obviously I would not have wanted to bring a child into the relationship that I was in, and I think also that if I'd had children, I would not have been able to care for my parents when they went into their old age. I could not have dealt with that on top of everything else. But it is surprising what we are capable of enduring. I watched on Saturday night, I watched Frida, and it's about Frida Kahlo. Such an inspiring woman, and one of her quotes is that we are able to endure more pain, and we are. we shouldn't have to, and in a perfect world we would not have to, but we can't go through life without it. Nobody sails through life without having to deal with some form of pain, whether it be, grief or heartbreak or anything like that. That it is part of life, and some people are able to, I think I've spoken about this before, some people are able to bounce back from it more easily than others, and some of us tend to probably let it affect us more, and we can't help the way we're built. I would not, I'm sorry, I can't find the word I'm looking for, but everybody has different ways of dealing with things, and everybody has a breaking point where they get to a certain point and they just think, I can't do this anymore. I can't do this anymore. So everybody has, a certain amount of pain that they can take, and I'm talking about emotional pain. I'm not talking about physical pain. Anyway, I am digressing as I usually do. So, Letter to My Inner Child is the inner child, and it's me talking to my inner child and asking my inner child for forgiveness for allowing the things that happened to me to happen. This version of Letter to My Inner Child is in A Jar of Stars, and it's in the chapter 6, which is called Healing. There is also a letter to my inner child in Pieces of Me, and I think it's in the last chapter, which is called I Am Becoming. But I've chosen to read this one today, and the reason why I'm talking about Pieces of Me is because tomorrow Pieces of Me, the Kindle version, will be on sale for 99.99 cents. I've reduced the price for, I think it's 3 days or 4 days. So if anybody wants to grab a copy on Amazon, you can go, and it is a reduced price from, I think I normally have it. I don't price my books very expensive. I think it's $3 normally, and I've reduced it to 99. So without further ado, because it's 8 minutes already, I've not even had tea. I've just had a shower and put my clothes on. But like I say, I have been awake since 4 o'clock. So I'll read this poem now. Little girl, you were not to blame. There is no need to hide your shame. With loving arms I will hold you and keep you safe. I will protect you, guide you, and shower you with love, because you deserve the best and so much more. So from this day forward, you will receive all the love you never had. You are beautiful, courageous, and strong. You are more than enough. Never doubt that you are. Let us take the pain and trauma and store it in a jar. Then we will bury it with the bad memories that have haunted us thus far. So that's the letter to my inner child from A Jar of Stars. And the inner child does cry, and the inner child suffers a lot from shame. Obviously, if there's been other things that have been involved. we know what they are. We don't need to talk about them. As I say, my mind wasn't traumatic. It was just the fact that a mother and her child, I'm only talking hypothetically because I never had kids, but I would imagine the bond between a mother and a child is strong, and I know somebody on WordPress who is particularly missing her daughter just now. It doesn't matter what age they are, you will still miss them. And I could not understand why my mother was not showing me the love that I wanted. I always had a better relationship with my father, and as I say, it wasn't until further down the line that, but again, I made the choice to look after my mother before she passed away. I did not look back in anger and say, oh, you, because you never looked after me or you never loved me. I made that decision, and I don't regret that decision. And we did get on fairly well, and before she passed away, and I'm glad I had that time with her. I would not have changed that for anything. So that's the video for today. It's nearly 12 minutes, so I'm going to go. As I say, I did normally midnight, but I thought I would film it today. Have a good week, and I will be back on Friday. I am going to phone the doc today to see if any results for my blood. Should see the bruise on my arm, and that's a nurse that's been taking blood for 30 years. Yeah. Some nurses know how to take blood and some don't, and yeah. I never wanted to be a nurse, but it was enough to be a carer. I'll see you on Friday. Bye just now.